You pee on a stick, two pink lines, your heart drops or soars, and within 48 hours, the entire machinery of modern medicine swings into action. Prenatal vitamins, an OB/GYN, a 12-week ultrasound where you see a heartbeat on a screen, a gender reveal, a birth plan, a hospital room with monitors and epidurals, and a team of specialists standing by just in case. Now strip all of it away. Every test, every doctor, every machine, every piece of medical language you've ever heard. Go back 40,000 years, 100,000, a million. Someone in your band is pregnant, what do? What did ancient humans actually do when someone got pregnant? How did they survive it? How did the babies survive it? And here's why this isn't just a history lesson. The answer quietly explains something that millions of modern parents feel in their bones, but can't quite name. A loneliness, an exhaustion that seems too big for one person. And it's not because you're doing it wrong. Let's start with something that sounds like it can't possibly be true. Your body is badly designed for having babies, not metaphorically, mechanically. There's a conflict buried deep in your anatomy called the obstetrical dilemma, and it's been shaping human life for millions of years. Here's the trade-off. When our ancestors stood upright and started walking on two legs, the pelvis had to narrow. It had to become a tight, weight-bearing column efficient enough for long-distance travel. But at the exact same time, our brains were getting bigger. Generation after generation, the skull grew and the exit route shrank. The result is a mechanical nightmare. A human baby has to perform a complex series of rotations, twisting through a canal that changes shape from top to bottom, just to be born. And here's the detail that changes everything. Because of these rotations, the baby almost always emerges facing away from the mother. She physically cannot reach down, guide it out, clear its airway, or untangle a cord from its neck. Not alone, not safely. This one anatomical fact, this simple, terrifying orientation, may have changed the course of human civilization. So imagine you are pregnant in the Paleolithic, the Old Stone Age. There is no word for due date, no concept of trimesters, but the people around you know what's happening. They've seen the signs before, the missed bleeding cycles, the morning nausea, the belly slowly rounding outward. In a small, close-knit foraging band, nothing about your body is invisible. And your life doesn't stop. You still walk, miles every day, across open grassland or through dense forest. You still gather. You still carry. There is no maternity leave in the Pleistocene. The band moves, and you move with it. Because staying behind means predators, exposure, and death. When the time comes, you need shelter. A cave, a rock overhang. Somewhere enclosed and warm, because a newborn human is astonishingly fragile. Born neurologically immature, unable to cling, unable to regulate its own temperature. And you need something else. Someone else. Here's where it gets genuinely surprising. Think about Neanderthals for a moment. Our closest evolutionary cousins. Big brains, neonatal skull sizes comparable to ours. Same tight fit, same danger. But in 2009, researchers virtually reconstructed a Neanderthal female pelvis and discovered something no one expected. The shape was different. Their birth canal outlet was transversely oval, wider side to side, where ours is oval front to back. What does that mean? It means Neanderthal babies likely did not rotate. They came through straight. No twisting, no complex choreography. The difficult spinning, face away from mum birth that defines every human delivery on Earth, that's ours. It's a recent evolutionary innovation, specific to Homo sapiens, emerging within just the last few 100,000 years. So let's be honest about what all of this meant. It meant women died, regularly. Obstructed labor, where the baby simply cannot pass through, was a virtual death sentence for both mother and child. We have the proof. In Bronze Age Spain, archaeologists uncovered the skeleton of a 25-year-old woman who died in labor. The fetus was lodged sideways, a transverse position. No one could save her. In Siberia, a 7,700-year-old burial revealed a young mother who died delivering twins. One was breech. Across 10 pregnancies in Bronze Age Europe, a woman faced roughly a 15% cumulative chance of dying in childbirth. 1 in 7, over a lifetime. No anesthesia, no surgery, no second chances. So how did we survive? Not with technology, not with medicine, with each other. Scientists call it obligate midwifery, and it may be one of the most important adaptations in human history. The idea is simple but profound. Because of the way our babies are born, facing away, helpless, tangled, assisted birth isn't a cultural preference. It's a biological requirement, a species-level survival strategy. And it's likely as old as our genus itself. Birth was never meant to happen alone. It happened surrounded by experienced women, mothers, grandmothers, aunts, who had done this before, who knew how to position the mother, how to ease a shoulder free, how to keep a newborn breathing. These were humanity's first specialists. No degree, no title, just generations of accumulated knowledge passed from hand to hand, body to body. And this wasn't a luxury reserved for some cultures. Anthropological evidence suggests it was a human universal. From every continent, every era, every type of society, birth was communal. Birth was female-led. Birth was a team event. And then humanity did something extraordinary. We innovated our way into a population explosion. Around 10,000 years ago, the Neolithic Revolution, the invention of farming, didn't just change what humans ate. It changed how fast we reproduced. Here's the mechanism. In nomadic hunter-gatherer bands, mothers typically breastfed for several years. That prolonged nursing triggered a hormonal state called lactational amenorrhea, essentially natural birth control. Births were spaced far apart. But when farming introduced cereals and domesticated animal milk, something shifted. Mothers could wean earlier, fertility returned faster, birth intervals shrank, populations exploded. And this is not speculation. Archaeologists have found the proof in the pottery. Small, spouted ceramic vessels, functionally identical to modern baby bottles, have been discovered at Neolithic sites across Europe. Researchers performed lipid residue analysis on the insides of these vessels and confirmed they contained ruminant animal milk. They also found tiny bone spoons with micro-wear patterns consistent with feeding soft food to infants. These were the world's first baby bottles, the world's first baby food. And they changed the trajectory of the human species. But scientists can go even deeper. By measuring nitrogen isotope ratios in the teeth of ancient skeletons, because breast milk leaves a distinctive chemical signature, researchers can reconstruct the exact age at which a specific child, thousands of years dead, was weaned. We can read a mother's feeding decisions in her child's teeth across millennia. But this boom came at a cost. More babies meant more strain on mothers' bodies. Some estimates suggest Neolithic women bore 8 to 10 children. Diets narrowed to a few cereal crops, causing iron deficiency. Crowded settlements bred disease. And the weaning period itself became deadly. Mortality spiked between ages 2 and 5. As infants lost the immune protection of breast milk and received contaminated food instead, progress and peril. Inseparable. They wrapped it in meaning. By the Bronze Age, birth had become sacred theatre. In ancient Egypt, women squatted on decorated mud bricks to deliver, painted with images of protective deities designed to invoke the goddess Meskenet, who was herself personified as a birth brick with a human head. These weren't just tools, they were altars. And here's a detail that will rewire how you think about the delivery room. Ancient women almost never gave birth lying down. That's a modern invention, introduced for the convenience of doctors. For thousands of years, across Egypt, Greece, Rome, Mesoamerica, women squatted, knelt, or sat upright on birthing stools, using gravity as an ally. The ancient Greeks believed knots in clothing could magically obstruct a delivery, and insisted every knot in the room be untied before a birth began. The Aztecs buried a baby boy's placenta on a battlefield so he would grow into a warrior. In the Upper Paleolithic, those mysterious Venus figurines, women carved with exaggerated bellies and breasts, may have been medico-magical charms for safe delivery, or survival symbols, or even self-portraits made by pregnant women themselves. Birth was biology. But it was also ceremony. So picture it whole. A woman in labour 30,000 years ago. She's in a sheltered cave warmed by fire. Around her are the women who've done this before. Her mother, her aunt, the elder who has guided dozens of births. They know the positions. They know the rhythms. They know when to push, when to wait, when to worry. One holds her from behind. Another watches the baby's head. The whole community is invested because this child belongs to all of them. This is how it was for hundreds of thousands of years. Birth was dangerous, yes, terrifyingly dangerous, but it was never lonely. Now compare that to this, a modern parent, 3 days home from the hospital, alone in an apartment at 2 a.m. with a screaming newborn. Googling, "Is this normal?" on a phone with one hand while trying to breastfeed with the other. No elder, no network, no village, just an algorithm and a sense of failure. That exhaustion you feel? That drowning sensation that millions of parents describe and can't explain? It's not a personal failure. It's an evolutionary mismatch. For the first time in the history of our species, we are asking individuals, or at most couples, to do what was always done by an entire community. We've kept the biology, every bit of it, the tight fit, the rotational birth, the helpless infant, the long dependency. But we've stripped away the social architecture that made it survivable. Modern parenting isn't the way it's always been. It's an experiment. And it's an experiment we've been running for barely a few generations. So what did ancient humans do when someone got pregnant? They gathered, they prepared, they surrounded the mother with every person who had survived this before. They turned a biological crisis into a communal act. They carved figurines and painted bricks and untied every knot in the room. They invented baby bottles out of clay and spoons out of bone. They read the signs in a woman's body and they showed up. They did the one thing that our species was built to do, and the one thing that modern life has quietly, almost accidentally, dismantled. They didn't do it alone. If you're a parent, or about to be one, and you've ever felt like you're failing at something that should be natural, you're not failing. The world changed. The job didn't. It was never meant to belong to one person. If this hit you hard, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories about the hidden patterns in human life that explain why we feel what we feel. Next week, we're exploring what ancient humans knew about grief that we've completely forgotten. So hit that bell and I'll see you then. Thank you for being here.